All right. What's going on, boys? It's Wednesday night. You already know what time it is. It's SEC After Dark. Apparently, Jake didn't get the memo to wear blue tonight, so he's the oddball of the crew. But joining us, as always, is Jake Thomas, Stephen Willis, and Jeb Beecham in costume tonight.
Yes, I see.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at Mr. Commodore in the house.
Mr. Commodore is in the house. Their house just got a little bit smaller, so that'll be interesting.
11 days away from kickoff for them.
I mean, it's not unprecedented for stadiums to be under construction, but it's still funny.
28,000 people, right? Will Vandy have a home sellout this year?
Oh, hey, it's possible.
I mean, they have a bunch of sellouts.
They have their grudge match with the Auburn Tigers for leading the series. That's happening this year.
Yeah,
that is absolutely happening. So, but I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that we are presented by DeadSoxy. So, Ole Miss fans, our friends at DeadSoxy have a unique way for you to back your favorite team. By subscribing to the Ole Miss NIL Socks subscription, you'll get the latest, greatest, freshest socks and also directly support Ole Miss athletics. You're not just a subscriber, you're a member. You're a member of the family. As a member, you get perks like top priority access. You get new Ole Miss socks and a standing, constant 25% discount and free shipping. Plus, you score a free pair of limited edition Juice Kiffin socks when you sign up. No membership fees, no fuss. You can pause, skip, or cancel at any time. Just add a pair of NIL socks to your cart, set your delivery frequency, and you're all set to go. So head to DeadSoxy.com now and join the Ole Miss NIL subscription. And as always, stay Soxy, my friends. And also, on top of that, when we reintroduce our pick segment, those are going to be powered by BetOnline.ag, your number one sports betting place. Everything you need: live bets, props, futures. You can bet on the Heisman Trophy winner. You can bet anything in MLB, NHL, NBA when it's back, NFL coming soon, and of course college football, where we will make our picks. So you can bet on all of that. Picks at betonline.ag. Plus they have an online casino. So if you like casino games, it's the place for you. So if you want, if that any of that sounds interesting to you, which if you're better, I don't know why it wouldn't, but head to betonline.ag either on your mobile device or your computer and type in the promo code Bleav to get your 50% welcome bonus. betonline.ag, it's where the game starts. So guys, you know.
Hey, I got two things we could probably bet on BetOnline.
All right, hit me with it.
How many interceptions Will Levis going to throw in preseason? And,
over.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, over.
Yeah. And how many times Bryce Young going to have to scramble for his life behind that offensive line that the Panthers have for him? Because that's all he did in that preseason game.
They'll get. I think some of that will get worked out. I think they have some things schematically. I think they'll fix it. They're not as bad as they seem on the offensive line in Carolina. They're pretty bad, but they're not quite run for your life all the time bad. So I'll take the under on that. But Will Levis,
oh God, that was
rough.
Awful.
That was rough, man. Not gonna lie about that. So
after this preseason, we're absolutely still on track to say this. The people that drafted Anthony Richardson and Will Levis are GMs that are going to get fired.
And the Titans GM is brand new.
Yeah, that's a tough one to debut with, right? He made so many other good moves and good picks. This one, I can't get behind this one. You even traded up to go get Will Levis. Like, I watched some.
Gonna be there.
But listen to this: like, if you wanted a backup, somebody to develop for Ryan Tannehill, I've watched some of these preseason games I watched. You know who looks really good or who looked really clean? I mean, I get it. It's preseason. He's going against a bunch of people that probably aren't going to be on the roster later. But Clayton Tune, you could have got him in the 5th, 6th round.
Right. What's up, Lennox?
He'd be a solid backup. Maybe. I mean, he's got poise. I don't think he's somebody that can start long term, but I think if you had to put him in for a series or two, I don't think he'd kill you.
Right.
Stetson Bennett looked good.
Yeah,
he looked poised.
He did. And honestly, Anthony Richardson has looked good early on.
Mostly, yes, but there's been some throws. Some of his issues are kind of fixable.
He should not be starting year one. He should be on McNair plan. That sets the kid up for failure.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a disaster. But I will say this for the Titans: Malik Willis looks 1,000,000% better than he did last year. I think he's just more comfortable. I think he is a better coordinator. I just think there's a lot of things going in his favor. What'd you say?
Yeah,
what were you gonna say, Steve?
It's just amazing how sitting and watching and actually ingesting everything and letting it slow down to whenever you can naturally play ball, how that helps you out. Malik Willis is going to be fine. The Titans jumped the gun on the Will Levis thing.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Again, it's going to be the ultimate donkey move for Rand Carthon because I think Malik Willis is just better right now. I never thought I'd say that, but it's true. It's true. He looks more poised. He's got better pocket presence. He can run. He's got the quarterback run game and the scramble ability in his back pocket when he needs it. But he's developing more as a passer. He's beginning to see things that he could not see last year, as far as reads go.
So what are we doing? AFC South after dark right now? Is that what's going on?
Yeah. So speaking of AFC after dark, so the Texans, God Almighty.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the Colts. We talked about the Titans.
Yeah. Next is Jags. Let's go.
All right, Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are actually pretty good, to be honest.
Jaguars are actually pretty good. Yeah, it's funny and it's counterintuitive to say that. And you feel like it. Have y'all seen The Good Place, like that series that was on for a little bit?
I've never seen it, but
I've heard of it.
One of the characters, the whole premise of the show, and I'm about to give spoilers away. So if anybody's interested in watching The Good Place, just stop listening for just a second. Don't cut it off, just mute it. And The Good Place is a situation where like the man that designs situations in hell decided to get creative, and his hell that he created was for 4 people design a situation where it looked like you were in heaven and that they made a mistake to get there. And they were always constantly worried about being found out as a fraud. That was the whole premise of the show. Well, one of the characters on the show, this is a long way to go for this, and this joke is not that good for that. One of them is a huge Jacksonville Jaguars fan. And they had a running joke through the series of like, hey, have we messed with the future? He's like, yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars are good. Stuff like that. And that's just a running joke of that show. That's a really funny show that anybody wants to watch. It's a couple of seasons long, but the first season's really good.
Okay. I might have to jot that down on my list of shows that I'll probably never get to. So
yeah.
I'm still not on Burn Notice yet.
Oh man, that's so good.
I had to do 1923. So all right. Well, Jaguars.
Tell the truth. Have y'all seen the finale yet?
No, I haven't.
Good.
Not. Yeah.
Because Jeb, Mr. Commodore, he's hanging out with friends from work. He said he needs to go out to hang out with them from work because he's in town and they're doing layoffs right now. It's like that they lay you off for not coming out in after your work hours. I don't think they can do that.
Ain't there some kind of law preventing that?
I think that was just one of those lame excuses. But Jeb is having some water cooler chats. Hopefully he's holding his phone up and having us playing during the party, like he's showing other people.
Hey, we're gonna put this up right here. This is for Corey.
Yes, Lennox, you're right. I mean,
Lennox, you may not be wrong. I'm just not there yet. I have a long list of TV shows that I haven't gotten to yet. And half of that list will probably never be. Like, I still need to watch House of Dragons. Not there yet. Need to watch Burn Notice. Not there yet. I need to watch the other Yellowstone spinoffs. Not there yet. So back to our original point.
This is going to freak you out, but I have met the Vandy Whistler. Both of them.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've met them in the wild, but yes, they do exist. I've met that person.
They do exist. They do exist. There's some Vandy fans. My head coach at Innsworth is a Vandy guy. He played at Vandy. So Jacksonville Jaguars. They actually have an Ole Miss guy, Evan Ingram. Going to be one.
They got a couple of them. Snoop Connor's on that team too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Tank Bixby. He's good at football. Go figure. He's actually having a solid rookie campaign.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence is going to he's going to take a huge leap. Like that might be one of the most underrated coaching hires that they made was hiring Doug Peterson to follow up Urban Meyer, because Doug Peterson was great in Philly. Him and the GM just were this.
Wait, are we really doing AFC South after dark? I was joking about that.
I was leaning into it, Steve. I really was. All right, so Lane is relaxed, right? I had to finish my point.
Okay.
That was going to bother me. Okay, so Lane is relaxed, right? So Steve, tell us why Lane is relaxed.
This is situation in practice. They're not doing normal camp stuff. They're not hitting. They're practicing shorter periods of time. There's a lot more classroom work. There's more walkthroughs. And whenever Lane is in front of the media, he's absolutely relaxed. And here's my theory on that. And we're going to do the preview next week as well. I wanted to save the best for last on that one. It'll be Alabama, Ole Miss, and LSU next week. But my theory is he knows who's going to be his quarterback. Jackson Dart is going to be the quarterback. He's taken 90%, 95% of the first team reps during fall camp. Walker Howard is down. They run 2 fields during practice. He's taken most of the reps on the second field. So they're obviously trying to race him up and get him ready to go. Lane Kiffin, if he was worried and concerned about Ole Miss's football team, because this is exactly what every football coach does, and Corey can attest to this.
Yeah.
If he wasn't sure about how good his football team was, they'd be beating the hell out of each other right now and trying to find the right people that can play football. But the fact that he's pretty confident of where he is, you can see him just, he's messing times around. They're doing open scrimmages this late in fall camp. Well, Lane Kiffin's feeling it a little bit right now.
And rightfully so. I mean, he's got a loaded quarterback room. We all know that. But, I mean, there's some starting to be some serious talent at Ole Miss. Now, is that talent vast across the 2 deep? I don't know that you're there yet, but like you're trending upward over there at Ole Miss, and they've always been, ever since Lane Kiffin took over, they've always been a very exciting team to watch. Like I think offensively they do a lot of stuff, and one of the most fun things that I did was when Steve, you started what was called Positively Ole Miss at the time. We did that boot camp, the offense.
Yeah,
and that was so much fun.
Yeah, just looking at exactly what Lane Kiffin does offensively. And it doesn't matter the offensive coordinator that comes in. They do the stuff that he wants to do. But drilling down to exactly like the tent poles of his structure, it was really cool indeed. And
now we're starting to get a glimpse into the structure of his practices, the structure of his recruiting, how he builds the brand. Like you're starting to see all of that now, which is exciting.
Yeah. And I will say this is the most talented Ole Miss football team in my lifetime. They might not win 10 games, 11 games, but as far as talent goes, the potential is there. I mean, you have the best running back in college football. You have a 4 deep, a legitimate 4 deep in the quarterback room. The wide receiver room is ridiculous. You have 2 projected NFL tight ends. The offensive line returns everybody. I think people are overlooking Ole Miss just because of the way they finished. And a lot of that, I think of that as it was sabotage. After the Alabama game and everything that was going on with the Auburn situation and how that kind of got out of control, the end of the season kind of spiraled on. But if you honestly say, if Zach Evans does not get hurt last year against Alabama, Ole Miss wins that game. Ole Miss would have won that game if Quinshon Judkins would not have run out of gas at the end of it. When they had to take him out and could not put him back in, that might as well have just given the game to Alabama. But Ole Miss was getting ready to score at the end of that game. Against LSU, Zach Evans, again, did not play. So what did Lane Kiffin do? He has a 4 deep in the running back room moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, Quinshon Judkins, man, that dude's best back in the conference.
Yeah, he's best back in the country. And then you have Jam Griffin, who transferred in from Oregon State. You have Ulysses Bentley, who was an all-conference player at SMU. And then you have a true freshman that was the MVP of the Polynesian Bowl, a high school all-star game, in Kedrick Ruscano. And there's just talent, that just layers of it. Lane Kiffin has done an underrated job of roster building. And I think whenever he looks around and whenever he sees practice, he's like, hey, we're in pretty good shape. So we need to not mess this up. We need to not roll an ankle of Quinshawn, who basically at this point is in bubble wrap. Now they're going to have to hit him a little bit in scrimmages later on there. But the first scrimmage they treated as the first NFL preseason game, where Jackson Dart played and threw 9 passes, and Quinshawn, you weren't even allowed to hit him. Stuff like that. They put the true freshman in for hitting whenever they wanted the defensive lineman to hit a running back. They put the 2 freshmen in. So yeah. I'm pretty excited about where this team could be. There was an article in the New York Post today, and this will be a first for this program, quoting a New York Post article, where Ole Miss and LSU are the betting favorites to win the SEC West. And even over, I guess there maybe people are getting nervous about the quarterback situation at Alabama a little bit, but I'm sure it's going to be fine, honestly. By the time Alabama and Ole Miss plays at the end of September, everything will be fine. I do worry that for the Texas game, Alabama might have some issues. They need to get right before then, but I think they'll be right before the Alabama and Ole Miss game. Yeah,
absolutely, man. And one of the things I was going to say about Lane and the way he's built this roster, normally I don't be excited, Steve. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So normally I don't condone, or normally I don't usually say that getting this many transfers is a good thing. But I think what he's done is he's balanced the roster with guys that are experienced within his system and bringing guys in to help here, there. And like he's brought in like pieces, but like more pieces than most. But he's just found a way to find guys that fit. And he has guys like Quinshawn Judkins, Jackson Dart, Michael Trigg. There's some offensive linemen, I don't know their name yet, but guys that know the system, right? Mm-hmm. That can say, okay, hey, new guy, here's the nuances of the system. Let's do this. Or defensively, everything's new defensively, so that's a wash. But because you have Pete Golding, which I think is going to be a good fit for Ole Miss, not a good fit for Alabama. Not saying he can't coach, just saying that Alabama just wasn't right for Pete Golding necessarily.
Yeah, and you look at talent-wise, Ole Miss picked up transfers after this window. These players might have to sit out and not be available until 2024, but Chris Graves from Miami, a 4-star top 100 player. T.J. Dudley from Alabama transferred in as well. Suntarian Perkins.
No, wasn't Dudley from Clemson?
Yeah, he came from Clemson, but he's from Alabama, the state.
Oh, okay. The state of Alabama. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
But them with Suntarian Perkins, there's some legit real talent being developed at Ole Miss right now. And despite what Auburn people would want you to think, I'm not blowing smoke here. Although Auburn, by the way, if you saw my Twitter feed today and yesterday.
Oh, God.
Wait a second. Okay, here we go.
You would think that Auburn is the greatest blue blood in the history of college football and not a little brother to Alabama. I hate schools with inferiority complexes. Auburn, Texas A&M, Mississippi State. It's 6-1, half a dozen of the other, but they need to feel superior to somebody. And even when they're not, they're just, hey, we're going to fake it until we make it. And Hugh Freeze is in the ascendancy of his recruiting. We saw this at Ole Miss. We had like the number 3 or 4 recruiting class in the country at Ole Miss. And then 4 years later, Matt Luke was the coach and Mississippi State was putting 55 up on the home field on Hugh Freeze. So we've seen the beginning, we've seen the good, and we saw how it ended. And it's just a cycle that Auburn has to go through essentially. But hey, Auburn's going to have 2 or 3 years. They're pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, Auburn also believes that they're a blue blood in basketball too. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. This thing that I have with Auburn fans at the moment, and it all stems from the fact that I'm confident in my team. I don't care about their team. They're nobody. But if you attack my team, I'm going to defend it.
Right.
And I'm confident enough to do that. personally, I don't care if you win 10 games. I'm not going to lose sleep over what you do if you win 3 games, if you win 10 games, if you go to an Outback Bowler, or if you're a Birmingham Bowl runner-up again. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't. Right now in the 2020s, in recent history of college football, you're an also-ran. You're a mid-program. That doesn't change. That could change with Hugh Freeze, but that is what's happened in the last 3 years. You do not have a winning record in the 2020s. Rectify that. Talk to me in that order. Don't skip steps, but that's the order you have to go in, because I'm not just going to play and say, hey, we assume that everything's going to go all right. Because
Steve, I'm not going to lie. I haven't listened to a word you said in the last 5 minutes. I've been reading your Twitter feed here.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts.
I don't even know what you were saying. You could have been saying anything.
But yeah, it's silly. And you come up there and they come in there and they say something absolutely ridiculous, like something to do with Cam Newton. Then somebody comes in and says, oh, Mike butt drop. You assassinated him. It's like, come on.
Oh my God.
Come on. Be realistic. Don't just pick the time frame for you to win and not allow me to do the exact same thing. It's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's all important that we just understand this fact, okay? That even Missouri has been to the SEC championship game more than Ole Miss.
That's what started it. That is what started it today. That's what started it today.
Black will be going in on you, man. Zach going in on you, dude. That's pretty crazy.
Zach's my boy. And here's the secret to this. We're doing that on purpose.
He's getting that thing stirred up. Yeah.
Yeah. We're doing it on purpose because our crossover episode is going to break records.
Yeah, if I would have been the Mississippi State locked on guy, which kind of glad I don't know. Kind of glad I'm not. It's because it's Mississippi State. But I would have started needling you like that too.
Yeah. And he came in and was like, this is just a thing. Ole Miss has never been to an SEC championship game. And I just said, hey, the recent Birmingham Bowl runner-up has spoken.
That's so good.
Yeah. But, hey, it's like I said, schools with inferiority complex, A&M, Mississippi State, Auburn, like Florida State is that school in Florida. I guess Georgia Tech would be that school.
Wait, Florida State inferiority complex?
To Florida.
They do. About that?
Yeah, they do. They do. What they're pulling in the ACC right now about, we need to get out is because Florida is going to make more money.
And I don't know about that.
They can't handle it. I think I don't know which one it is in South Carolina. I don't know which one has the inferiority complex in South Carolina.
They kind of just. I think that, and I think South Carolina, Clemson, and Florida State is kind of like the same. Like it just goes year to year based on like where the needles moved. Like not one has more than the other of an inferiority complex, which means neither of them really do. They just mutually hate each other and can't handle it when the other one does good.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Tech has a really bad inferiority complex.
Yeah. Like Arkansas State, because they were the only school. LSU was the only school, really. Tennessee was the only school. I would imagine Louisville is that school in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When it comes to basketball, good Lord.
I don't know which one is that school in between Missouri and Kansas, because one of them is the inferior. I think Missouri is probably that school in that little pairing, Missouri and Kansas.
Because I think because Kansas has they don't really care.
And because of basketball.
Definitely basketball. But I'm talking in football sense, like Kansas, they just do their thing and they don't really care. And Missouri gets all bent out of shape when they do something good.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's the most toxic thing in college football, and those schools pretend that this is fun. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, it's just sad. Oh, Chauncey, I am not going to get on the Michael Orr situation because that is a family dispute, and it's sad, and it is not really relevant to Ole Miss at all, other than the fact that they played there. I'm not going to go down that road at all. But it is a totally sad situation.
Yeah, that situation is not great. Not great at all. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't think there's just not going to be any good way for that to turn out.
Yeah,
I think there's been some severe damage now. So
I think some bridges have been burned.
Just a few. So
anyway, I feel like right here, Van's comment is a great segue to our team preview since we have A&M tonight.
So we're presented by Segway, the official scooter of Paul Blart. No, wait. Okay, so Texas 8-4. So the big storyline here. All right, we're talking about Texas A&M, what they're going to look like for the 2023 season.
Just a second, real quick. I need to say this, Van. No, you haven't. What? No, you haven't. You've been extremely blessed to be an Alabama fan.
He might have been around in the 80s.
How old are you, Van?
Bobby Bryant.
That's gonna.
Ray Perkins was bad.
It might have been bad, but every coach that has coached at Alabama, I believe, has won 10 games in a season. Like even Mike Shula did that.
Yeah.
So the highest and the lows and the lowest of the lows, that's not it. Mississippi State has a losing all-time record. Vanderbilt is just, hey, we need to try and make it to a bowl game. How cool would that be? That's the lowest of the lows, and I don't think Bama fans. Now, there was a 3-8 in there. I will give you that. I think who was it, Franchione or maybe
God, yeah.
There was a 3-8 in there, but it's not necessarily the lowest of the lows, in my opinion.
What y'all finish in the 2003 season? Because I saw a very low moment in that where Thomas Davis took out 3 quarterbacks in a row.
Yeah, that was a 3-8 season. That
was a very low moment for Alabama. That had to be humbling.
Chauncey bringing the heat.
Yeah.
Oh, Chauncey. Love it.
There was an article, by the way, one of the biggest wins in Mississippi State history. And they talk about it. Every Mississippi State fan will talk about this game. They beat Bear Bryant in Mississippi Memorial Stadium 6-3. And I was like, oh my goodness, y'all did that. And the other game, y'all beat Auburn one year 3-2. What? Mm-hmm. Come on. Just offense is like the enemy in that area.
Yeah.
I know I'm going off the rails and I'm just attacking everybody at this point,
we're just off the rails and I love it.
You'll get your shot at Mississippi State fans here in a little while, Steve.
Yeah.
Mike Price, NCAA sanctions, bowl ban, scholarships, Mike DeBose and the secretary.
That's right. Sylvester Croom, Mississippi State beat Saban.
Mm-hmm. Sylvester Croom did. Mm-hmm. And he played at Bama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
that was a good one. Mm-hmm. They beat Saban in his first year.
Of course, so did ULM that year. Just saying.
Yeah, it's 21-14. Never forget it.
Yeah. Van. poor guy. How old are you, Van? You still haven't answered that question.
Mike DuBose. That's the one I was thinking of.
Mike DuBose, yeah.
And the secretary, yeah. That was not a great moment. Yeah,
one of my favorite names in SEC history is Wimp Sanderson.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite name. Whenever I thought SEC, like that was the name I thought of, and I wasn't even an Ole Miss person.
34, younger than me, Van.
Oh, he's only 2 years older than me.
Jesus, Jake, how young are you?
32. I mean, count it up. 34 and 2 years older. Come on, Corey, do some math a little bit.
That was a rhetorical question there, boss. Jesus. Like, I can't believe you're that significantly younger than me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're all significantly younger than Steve, though. So it's all good.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I think George Washington is younger than me.
Steve's just a clone.
Didn't you mentor him?
Are you an AI, Steve?
I taught him how to ride.
Yeah,
Michael Specs, he's already coming to picks.
You
know what, Michael? We're going to do picks next week. Picks are back next week.
Which means Beck will be back, right?
Maybe. I have to beg her to come back on. But the pick segment, for those who do not know, it's our best segment on our show. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets to play along. We talk about the games and give our picks, then why we're picking them. And it's about 30 minutes long. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the entire show.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like an entire Wednesday night pick segment.
Cassie says she can't wait for the picks either.
That's okay. It's what the people want. And Becky better deliver because the people want Becky. People don't give a crap about us.
She
they
won
want
it last year. She's got to be back. She got to defend that title.
By the way, Becky makes picks based on the attractiveness of the uniforms, the better named of head coaches, fight songs. If you all remember that, she has a Rolodex, and she's going to figure out how to do it, and she's going to beat us in picks this year, just like she did last year.
No, I'm coming for that title. I'm coming for that crown.
Well, you started out hot last year, and then cooled off, Corey. So you need to be more
I
consistent.
came out of the gates like I was running a 4.2, and then like halfway through the season, I pulled up lame.
blew out a hammy.
blew out a hamstring.
Yeah,
and just limped to the finish line.
By the way, we'll discuss this as the season gets closer. The clock change rules to make it more NFL-like, to where instead of 80 plays, you might have 70 in a game, means that tempo offenses are not going to be detrimental to your own defense as much. So you can actually do tempo more, and it's going to take a little while for people to figure that out.
So advantage Tennessee,
advantage Ole Miss, advantage Pete Golding. We got 20 people watching at the moment, so I just thought I'd throw that in. I imagine it's Tide Talk Live that's carrying the mail on that one. Yeah,
I got 11.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's Pete Golding.
Remember in 1999, won an SEC championship and lost to Louisiana Tech during the same season. It will never be replicated again.
Don't say never.
That was the year y'all faced Tom Brady in the Orange Bowl, right?
Yeah, we got beat, 2 overtimes, I think?
Tom Brady and Charles Woodson, I think.
Yep.
Well, let's do our previews for this week before we go too long tonight.
Oh, yeah, those things. Okay, so previews.
I think Jake is first this time. Well, who's first? No,
we segued into Texas A&M. And we got off the rails. So we'll stay on that train, right? Just get this one over with. All right, Texas A&M. So Jimbo and Bobby Petrino are going to fight on the sidelines. Okay,
very baby.
So they come in. They were Texas 5-7, 2-6 in conference. So here's some things here. All right. Texas A&M, they can only go up, right? Right. This is where you participate, right?
I guess.
Okay. I did not know this was audience participation. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. It's audience participation, but when I point at you. Okay, so Bobby Petrino, they bring him in, offensive guru, but we all know Jimbo Fisher ain't going to let it go. So, but what are the pieces they have to work with? Connor Wegman. You know, we saw glimpses of Connor Wegman and flashes, glimpses of that talent that he has. But again, it's going to be a very, very hostile situation. You got Max Johnson, you got Marcel Reed also in the mix. I wouldn't be surprised if Marcel Reed took over halfway through the season, to be honest with you. But this is going to be an interesting deal at quarterback. But they're going to have a good receiving core. Anaya Smith is coming back. He's come back from a leg injury. That's going to be good. Evan Stewart and Donovan Green are the three big pass catchers. Donovan Green being the tight end. Reuben Owens has to make an impact at running back. He's taking over for Devin Achane. And then this O-line, they have two future NFL guys, center Bryce Foster and 6'8", 330-pound tackle Reuben Fothery. I think I said that right. So offensively, again, they just got to hit on explosive plays. They've got to take advantage of field position. They've got to put sixes across the board instead of threes. So I think they have the pieces to do it. It's just a matter if the two nitwits calling the shots are going to be able to get along long enough to actually do something with this offense, and that's going to be a key factor there. Defensively, okay, they might be number one in the nation against the pass, but here's why. Defensive front, they're supposed to be dominant, and they're starting to pay off. Walter Nolan He's shown flashes last year. He's got to take that next step. Shamar Turner and Fadil Diggs also. So their defensive line is starting to take shape a little bit. They have Tony Grimes transfer from North Carolina. If you remember that name, he actually reclassed right before graduation, graduated early and enrolled early at North Carolina. Josh DeBerry transferring in from Boston College. Those are two NFL guys. Tony Grimes is a corner. Sam McCall also coming in from Florida State. Again, secondary got real strong through the transfer portal, and you add that to Damani Richardson, and you have a pretty good back end there. Like I said, if this team can get their you-know-what together. Linebackers should be really good. Chris Russell, he was the leading tackler last year. He's coming back. No reason he shouldn't be the leading tackler again. He joins Edrin Cooper as well. So that's going to be a good tandem as the linebacking core. So that's your defense right there. So when you look at the season for Texas A&M, obviously stop the run. They got to be better against the run. They allow 2,500 yards, over 2,500 rushing yards, and teams that were able to run the ball successfully were actually able to run the ball successfully against A&M. So if you were in a slump running the ball, just play Texas A&M. That'll get you out of your slump. So they need to get better at that. They're 2-5 when they allow over 4.5 yards per carry. Josh DeBerry is their biggest gain. That's debatable. Denver Harris, he transferred out to LSU. Their key player is defensive tackle McKinley Jackson. He's going to be the swing guy there. And their key game, what do you think their key game is?
Ole Miss.
Alabama.
No. They have their key game.
It can't be Georgia because they're not allowed to play, right?
Right.
No, they're not allowed to play that one. Arkansas. I don't know what this one's a head scratcher. I don't know why this is their key game.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh, I can tell you why it's their key game. If you look at their schedule, I think that's the start of a run that has like Alabama, LSU, or not LSU, Alabama, Tennessee, and Ole Miss. There's like a 4-game stretch that if they lose that Arkansas game, that things could absolutely go sideways and cost Jimbo his job.
Yeah. So it's a key game because if they lose that game, they may be 5-7 again. They've got to beat.
It could
Arkansas.
get ugly. It could get ugly if it. That's the
Texas 4-8.
Yeah, Texas 2-10.
Yeah.
Texas open head coaching job.
By the way, Texas A&M is the only school in the SEC currently, and actually you can say this once Texas and Oklahoma comes in as well, that has not won a national championship in the Big Three sports since 1940.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
You want to hear some fun facts for the Aggies? Time of possession. Their opponents have been on average 32 minutes and 12 seconds to Texas A&M's 27 minutes 52 seconds. Red zone, A&M is 34 of 38 in the red zone for 89%. And
pretty good.
Their opponents are 32 of 44, 73%. Not good. Opponents, the total yards is almost dead even. A&M's 4,330 to the opponent's 4,380. So that's just about even there. So the over-under win total is set at 7.5. I'm going to take the under.
Under. I'll tell you, over-under on, say, week 4, over-under before Bob Petrino and Jimbo getting to
over.
It's a match over. Yeah.
What do I have to say sooner?
Yeah.
It's like 6 books out there and a trapper keeper of his plays,
Right.
Trying to figure out what's going on. And Bob Petrino, he's like, no, let me handle this. And Jimbo's like, no, I have the perfect play in here. It is in here somewhere. I'm buying the green tab. I know that.
Yeah.
you know the loud sound it makes.
You got 15 seconds to get a play call off. I got it right here somewhere.
Hey, have you seen my readers? It's around your neck, Jimbo.
Right.
Good.
Wait.
I could be right here. Yeah, on his nose.
Looks up. So that's Texas A&M in a nutshell.
And he's like, and I want some cheese logs. And it's like, no, you're looking at the wrong thing.
And I want to go back to a comment SEC football made earlier. It said it doesn't seem to matter what A&M's record is. They play tough or play us tough. I don't know who you're talking about, us, but
Yeah,
they didn't really play tough against Appalachian State.
Yeah, they played the opposite.
Right.
They play tough against Miami. I think they have to play Miami this year again, by the way,
and it's
in South Florida. And
mm-hmm.
I think that's in September. And if that has a chance to be 2:00 in the afternoon and just an absolute temperature zoo when there'll be 6,000 people in the stadium, but a temperature zoo.
I think
that's when it could come unraveled.
It could. I think A&M's best chance to win that game is to forget their uniforms, have to borrow some from Middle Tennessee State, and they'll win.
Mm-hmm.
Very Perry, Corey.
Very Perry.
Very
Get the
Grr.
The Derrick took her jabs. All right, so where are we at?
I'll go middle this time. We'll do Mississippi State, the other cult team in our program today. But we'll try and be honest about it. They're coming off a 9-4 season with an ReliaQuest Bowl win over the Illinois Fighting Illini. They won the Egg Bowl over Ole Miss on a 2-point conversion. It was actually a pretty good game that kind of got squirrely and got good at the end. Jackson Dart actually played pretty well that night. But it's a situation you have the Mike Leach situation. We don't want to kind of relitigate that, but Zach Arnett has been hired for his first season to be the head coach. But the one thing that he has done as he's gotten rid of the air raid system since Mike Leach is gone, he's moved over to the Appalachian State offense. Earmuffs, Texas A&M.
Power spread.
So here's the problem. Will Rogers, everybody's talking about Will Rogers because everybody looks at it as like, hey, Will Rogers is a 5-star quarterback, just for instance. But those don't exist. You have a 5-star pocket passer. You have a 5-star dual threat. You have a good football player that does something well. You don't just have a good football player. Those are increasingly rare, and you don't generally see them at a program like Mississippi State or even Ole Miss. That is not even a shot. But Will Rogers running the air raid is like ethanol for a quarterback, and the things that they teach you that you have to unlearn to play a normal style offense. Right. So Will Rogers could struggle. I think Mike Wright could be the starting quarterback by the time the Egg Bowl comes around because of that. Because we saw last year, Jackson Dart came from USC, which was an air raid system under Graham Harrell, went to an RPO system. He struggled a little bit. The reads were a little bit different. All the muscle memory that he built up, he held the ball a little bit too long. Stuff like that was a problem for Jackson Dart. I think Will Rogers is going to go through the same thing as that. The one massive plus is the return of just about everybody on the offensive line. They've got everybody back. That is a big thing. Now, they have to learn how to run block, and they have to do that effectively, especially with some gap scheme stuff that they're probably going to have to do in the Appalachian State system, as opposed to just simply one run play, which was like inside zone. And they also have backs, even though Dylan Johnson is gone, they have Jaquavius Marks, and they got Simeon Rice and the Penn State transfer Cavante Lee. So that should be pretty good as well. Now, the good news for the Mississippi State Bulldogs would be on the defensive side of the ball. They have returned 2 linebackers that got over 110 tackles last year. They're good on the defensive line. Zach Arnett has done a really good job building up that side of the ball. Now, the offense can strain that side of the ball, and Mike Leach honestly did not do that. So we'll see. It starts with a line that has to replace a few decent parts, but they do have Nathan Pickering and Jaden Crumity and a couple of players that could kind of show out. They have a bunch of new parts on the secondary that they need to fill in pretty quick, because this is the thing that nobody will tell you about Mississippi State's season. All of their difficult games are at home. You get Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss, all in Starkville, which though it's a situation where they might go 1-3 in the conference, and then they have to go on the road and play teams like Arkansas. So you could put up a really crooked number negatively if everything doesn't go to plan. So we'll see exactly how that goes. But the talent is there. This is a 9-win team. They're going to do 9 downfield passing. And we'll see. Like Ra Thomas went to Georgia. He was the transfer that was out. They did get the kid from Penn State as well. Their key game this year, Kentucky, which, by the way, they're wearing their 1998 jerseys. Absolutely the best look for Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we could see, I don't know if we will, but we could see Mississippi State in that strip and Ole Miss wearing the powder blue helmets and the white jerseys. It could be a terrific uniform game. Do not screw that up, Mississippi State as well. Their best player is linebacker Nathaniel Watson. They also had Jet Johnson. That, like I said, they had 2 linebackers over 110 tackles. Will Rogers, Kamarion Richardson, Jaquavius Marks, Nathan Pickering, Cameron Jones, Jordan Davis, Cole Smith, 2 offensive linemen, and Jaden Wally. If you look at their fun stats, they outscored opponents last year in the first quarter, 97-27. That's a sign of a good coach, well-coached football team. 4th down conversions, they were 15-29. That's pretty good. Opponents were a little bit less than 50%. And passing yards per game, 311 and 210. But you have to think that number is going to go down a little bit with a leaning on running the football as well. Mississippi State's over-under is at 6.5. I think just because of that schedule, you kind of have to take the under. I think between them and Auburn, they'll be going for 7th in the West this year, honestly.
Yeah, unfortunately. Hey, Chauncey, I want to do a little math problem for you. All right. Okay, I got to set it up, though. Average worst case scenario yardage for a check down. We'll say what, 3 yards? Is that a good number?
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
All right. So what is 4 times 3?
12.
No. 4 times 3 is a first down. So check
Yeah.
down McGee. I'll take that. 4 times 3 is a first down. I'll take it.
But that also requires that you play perfectly, and any lost yardage play that gets you off schedule at all means that a first down becomes impossible.
Well, he's going to throw
penalties and all that.
He's going to throw an actual pass every once in a while. But hitting checkdowns and hitting them frequently is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, if it's all you do, maybe. But yeah, he's not. I don't know. I think Will Rogers will be better than everybody thinks he is, because a lot of what that system does in the passing game is quick passing game. So it takes a lot of the read and it takes a lot of the unlearning out of it. It's just catch, rip, and throw.
Mm-hmm.
And
as Jackson Dart struggled to run an RPO when he came from the USC system.
Yeah, maybe I don't know if they'll do a ton of RPOs with Will Rogers. They might lean into what he does. I don't know. We'll see. That is valid, but we'll see like kind of how they do it, because I don't think Chase Bryce was that great at RPOs. They didn't really do a ton of RPOs.
Appalachian State was not that great.
They beat A&M.
They ran the hell out of the ball. They ran the hell out of the ball and they threw a quick game.
Yeah, and they're going to do that, and you have an offensive line that's going to have to figure out how to. It's a slow start, and with that schedule, it could get sideways in a hurry.
Oh yeah, it could get sideways in a hurry. But I mean, I think not necessarily mean Will Rogers is going to be bad. I think team wise they're going to have some struggles, but system wise,
my hot take is Mike Wright is going to start the Egg Bowl. That is my hot take.
I'm going to say my hot take is he's not. I don't think he will. I think scheme-wise, I think Appalachian State is more intentional run, play action, and quick game. I don't think there's much RPO as you think they are.
Well, in the modern offense, if you're not running RPOs, modern defensive coordinators can really tee off on you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to do some of that just to make the linebackers work. Because if the linebackers know what you're going to do in modern college football, it almost doesn't matter who you are and who you're playing against. If they know what you're going to do, they can stop it.
Right.
They can.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But my hot take, all that to say that I don't think Will Rogers is going to struggle all that much. So, Jake, who you got?
I got Arkansas. So, yeah. Whoop-pig City. So you talk about lows. We were talking about that earlier. I don't think there's a low lower spot than what Arkansas was a few years ago when they got absolutely demolished on a fake fair catch and then just got boat raced by North Texas. I mean, that is pretty low. That is pretty low.
Oh, the Chad Morris era.
Yeah. So, but
what a special era for them.
Yeah.
Was Chad Morris arrested?
Should have been after that, like Gauss
stealing from.
So you brought in Sam Pittman a few years ago, and you pretty much rechanged your whole program. You've won 18 games in the last 2 years. Last year wasn't that great, but there are some positives for Arkansas. You bring back KJ Jefferson, who's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And you also have Raheem Sanders, who is just an absolute beast at running back. So you have positives there. You have a great 1-2 punch with them guys. You always know that an offensive line under Sam Pittman is going to be tough because he's an offensive line guru.
Boss hog, man. Boss hog.
Exactly. So you got some help there. You're going to be able to run the ball, move the defensive line out of the trenches a little bit. So there's some positives there for you guys. Again, Jefferson is one of the best running quarterbacks in the country. He ran for over 640 yards and 9 scores, and he also hit 68% of his passes, last year. So he's very talented. Defensively, the defense was dead last in the SEC in yards allowed and gave up over 30 points per game. You got to fix that if you want to have any success, especially in this conference. You can't give up 30 points in this conference, you are going to lose, no doubt about it. So you bring in a couple guys. You bring in Trajan Jeffcoat from Missouri and John Morgan from PA. Trajan, yeah. That silent J always gets me. But to help Landon, they come in to help Landon Jackson in the pass rush. There's size on the inside, but not a ton of experience. So you got to get those guys, get them prepared for a dueling SEC play. Losing linebackers Drew Sanders and Liverpool hurts, but you have a good group of sophomores. Chris Paul Jr., which I didn't realize he retired from basketball to play football now. But anyway,
he needed something to do other than the State Farm commercials.
Right? Yeah. You also bring in the South Florida transfer Antonio Greer. He's a veteran, so you brought some veteran leadership on that linebacker core as well. The secondary has to be a lot stronger. You do have an all-SEC corner and Dwight McLaughlin and safety Hudson Clark. But again, your pass defense was giving up close to 300 yards per game. So you gotta fix that as well if you're going to have any success this year. Keys to the season, you got to come up with more third down stops. You allowed over 45% of the third down chances, which is not bad, but it does kind of hurt later in the game. You got to your best players, your key players is going to be redshirt freshman Isaiah Satinega, Sategna. I can't say these words. Jadon Wilson and Sam McBackey. So get them guys up to game speed. Your key game is at LSU September 23rd. You was right there with them last year, 13-10 loss, but you didn't score. You didn't score at all. You barely had any kind of offensive game there. So you got to work on that. Fun fact here: the total offense, Arkansas had 6,128 yards of total offense. The opponents had 6,047 yards. Arkansas gave up 42 sacks. Opponents had 31 sacks against them. And 2-point conversions, that you were 3 out of 5, which ain't bad on 2-point conversions, and your opponents was 5 out of 12. Your win total is at 7. I think with that schedule, I could see 7 again. But you have LSU, A&M, Ole Miss, Alabama, and a 4-game stretch there that's going to be absolutely tough. So, you're going to come play with them boys. Yes, it should be a segment of the show because I did not know anything. how to say people's names.
And that's not me, by the way.
The names are tough.
Oh, wow. Somebody's Willis.
By the way, just so everybody knows, and this is probably as close to an announcement as we're going to get on the subject, but there's a picture of Jackson Dart, and it's titled "Focused on September 2nd."
There you go.
So that's about as close to announcement as we're going to get, I think.
It sounds like
there's not much to announce. It's kind of like, Carson Beck is not yet quarterback one, but I mean,
yeah.
Stacey,
we all know Notre Dame.
Yeah, I can't say that.
Notre Dame.
I say Norda.
Notre
Dame, eh? It's Notre Dame, eh?
Sounds like Childers.
I'm trying to sound like Braun in our in 1923. Trying to sound like his family.
Speaking of which, that there's not going to be a 1923 the finale because Jeb was not here tonight.
Yeah,
we normally record that here, so we're going to have to do that next week, which will put us a little bit behind the 8 ball. We may have to do 2 shows back to back to where we do the finale and we review that, and then we do a show talking about how we think season 2 is going to go.
Okay.
So, but don't expect it this week.
No, it ain't happening this week.
No.
Bruh. So yeah, it's not happening this week. So
KJ and Rocket duo is really strong. So I mean, you got that to work with, Arkansas. Other than that, your defense got to have work.
Arkansas is going to be a tough out, but I think there's some things that they're going to struggle with. I think depth is going to be one thing. I think the contrast between Kendall Briles and Dan Enos is going to be very, very tough on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think people are going to understand when I talk about there's no such thing as a good football player. There's only a good football player that does something. People are going to be shocked at what KJ Jefferson looks like this year.
That's going to, you talk about tough quarterback transitions. That's going to be one. So next week, we're going to look at the Tide quarterback situation. What's going to happen there? Don't tell us yet, Jake. But if you really want to know, I'm sure they're talking about on Tide Talk Live. So
we have
Israel and I are going to get back in the saddle here and do a Bleav In Georgia Dawgs here pretty soon. Some camp updates and things. Steve we're going to talk about Ole Miss, but if you want to hear Ole Miss on the daily, Locked On Ole Miss, so check that out. It's a very sweet Tigers hat, by the way.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer Torkelson is leading the Major League Baseball in home runs in August.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. And he's still like 300 home runs behind the Braves.
It doesn't matter. It's just the point where we've been waiting on Riley Green, which, by the way, that guy's a dude. Torkelson and Kerry Carpenter to kind of emerge, and it's starting. It's like the GIF with Michael Cera from Arrested Development. It's like it's really happening, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it all works well and those prospects become, elite, the future's bright for the Tigers.
Yeah, and Max Clark is in Lakeland right now, the number 3 draft pick. We're waiting on him to go to the A-ball team so I can go watch him play because it's friends and families only in the FCL. Although I'm about to say something that's completely sad, and everybody in the chat is going to judge me. I sat in my pickup truck and watched an FCL game from across the street in a park.
Hey. There you go.
Yeah.
And bored.
Save that money.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. So Jake and I are a couple spoiled Braves fans. We're spoiled, Jake. Let's just be honest about it. We're spoiled.
Los Tigres.
Hey, we may have the best player in baseball in Acuna Jr. I'm just be honest.
And you've got what is it? Olsen.
Yeah,
Olsen as well.
Olsen is raking, dude.
Yeah,
Olsen leads the majors in homers.
He does, but Acuna's still got like a 330 batting average. I mean,
Acuna is destroying the baseball right now too. Olsen just sends him into orbit.
Right.
I mean, this team is ridiculous. Spencer Strider
and Bryce Elder.
Elder.
We got Matt's Free back, and he's been solid since he's been back from injury bug. So,
and how about the Tampa Bay Rays?
Yeah,
McClanahan gets Tommy John. And then you have the thing that's happening with Wander Franco, where he apparently has like a 14-year-old girlfriend.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that.
I hear that's illegal.
Yeah. Yeah. He's in the,
bit.
whatever the administrative unable to, he's basically being injured list. He's not on the roster at the moment. And while the investigation is going underway.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I could tell you that, that probably won't end well for him.
No, probably not.
And then it definitely won't end well for him once he gets inside.
So, yeah, we'll see what exactly happens there. But
Stacey, I love people describing somebody as a unit is hilarious to me. I love that. I don't know why. It just sounds so like that dude's a unit.
The big unit.
The big unit. Because that's all I think about when I hear the word unit. So,
and Braves won today 2-0. So they swept the Yankees.
Oh, yeah, that's even better. Love sweeping the Yankees.
Who pitched today? I don't remember. Anyway, Charlie Morton did. Okay.
Yeah. Just frowned upon. Like masturbating on an airplane.
Oh my God.
That's what Stacey says in the chat.
Well, we had a clean rating up until the last minute of the show, Corey.
Hey, blame Stacey. I mean, I Ron Bergened it, but
yeah,
blame Stacey on that one. So, okay. Well, let's get out of here then, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. We are SEC After Dark. We hope you enjoyed these previews. Catch us anywhere you catch your podcast. Catch Jake, Tide Talk Live. Catch me, Bleav In Georgia Dawgs. Catch Steve, Locked On Ole Miss. Catch Jeb whenever he finally does a show. I'll throw it out there. So,
Derek Vandegrift has done 3, by the way.
Okay, so Derek
Vandegrift really good.
Yeah, yeah, and it's the Dugout with Dids and Chad Flowers, who is going to be a participant weekly on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. He did the Brad and Chad podcast. Really good broadcaster.
So when is he going to have? When is he going to have Chad Powers on his show?
You want to talk about the holy grail for an interview for Ole Miss people? It's probably Eli.
Yeah.
That is abs. So whoever can have Chad Powers is probably like a race to get him.
That would be sick, dude. Steve, I'm rooting for you to be the first to get Eli.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any way I could not fanboy enough to do it though.
So
yeah.
Just feel like I'm totally
like I did an interview with Bill Flowers today, and I was like fanboying on that. It's like I remember when you know.
Me and Stacey had George Teague on our show one time, and it was absolutely hard to fanboy, talking to him. So
did he break down the play?
Oh gosh, I think we asked him about it.
You better have asked him about that play.
We asked him about it, but so it was fun.
I was this close to getting Champ Bailey on.
Oh man, I've been to go one too.
They had some scheduling conflict stuff during Sugar Bowl stuff, and he couldn't come on. But we were this close to having Champ Bailey. I would have definitely probably fanboyed that, but I don't care. Matt, my friend Matt had Joe Thomas on his show.
Oh, cool.
Totally fanboyed, but the interview turned out great.
Hey, I know that he has nothing to do with the SEC, but we need to get Ed Reed on for Becky.
I'll fanboy on that one too. I love Ed Reed.
Ed Reed's fantastic.
He is.
And was the coach of Bethune-Cookman for like 4 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And decided, what the hell am I getting into?
Yeah,
this ain't worth it, man.
Yeah. And Stacey actually got to meet him last season, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
All right,
here we go. So we are SEC After Dark. Stephen Willis, Jake Thomas, Corey Burton. We'll see you back here next week. Better than ever. We are SEC After Dark, presented by DeadSoxy. We'll see you back here next week. So long, and go Dogs.
Hotty toddy.
Roll Tide.
Anchor down. Jeb.
Anchor down. Hey, boy, anchor down, man.